There's one question that is completely dominating every single conversation in tech, on Wall Street, and let's be honest, probably at your dinner table too. Are we living through the next great technological revolution, or are we just watching a gigantic speculative bubble in flight, just waiting to pop? The stakes, well, they've never been higher, and the answer is going to define the next decade for all of us. And let's be real, the skepticism is loud, and it is everywhere. For anyone who remembers the year 2000, this feeling of deja vu is intense. You hear the hype, you see these stock charts just going vertical, and you can't help but think, wait a minute, I've seen this movie before, and I'm pretty sure I know how it ends. So today, we're going to tackle that feeling head on. So here's the game plan. First, we're going to walk you right into that feeling of deja vu, really explore those echoes of the dot-com bubble. Then we're going to pivot and lay out the powerful case for why this time is fundamentally, and I mean fundamentally different. We'll take a look at the tangible hardware powering this whole shift, the unbelievable scale of the economic prize, and finally, why all the evidence suggests this party is really just getting started. Okay, let's start by validating that feeling in your gut. Why does this feel so much like the late 90s? Well, it's because the pattern seems almost identical. You've got a world-changing new technology, you've got massive amounts of money pouring in, and you've got stock valuations that, well, some of them are seeming a bit disconnected from reality. And the poster child for this whole comparison is Cisco. See, during the dot-com boom, everyone was spending billions building out the guts of the internet. The fiber optic networks and Cisco, they were selling the shovels for that gold rush. Their stock soared to this absolutely insane price to earnings ratio of around 200. They were priced for infinite growth, but that growth couldn't last forever. The networks got built, demand flattened, and then a market for used hardware popped up. Now, the company itself was fine. It's still a giant today, but that speculative valuation, it completely collapsed. The fear is that the exact same thing is happening right now with AI data centers. So that's the bear case, and it's a good story. It's compelling, it's rooted in a very real, very painful historical event, but this is exactly where the comparison starts to completely fall apart. So let's dig into the fundamental differences between the dot-com era and today. This right here is the first and maybe the most crucial point. The dot-com bubble was fueled by hundreds of startups with no profits, no revenue, sometimes not even a finished product. All they had was a dot-com in their name and a dream. Today, the companies building the core AI infrastructure, we're talking about Microsoft, Google, Nvidia, Amazon. These guys were already global powerhouses printing hundreds of billions of dollars in cash flow before this whole AI boom went into hyperdrive. They're investing from a position of incredible strength, not just speculative hope. And let's look at the hard data, because this is where that Cisco comparison really just breaks down. Yeah, Nvidia's stock has had a historic run, no doubt, but why? Back in 2000, Cisco's stock price shot way up, way ahead of its actual earnings, pushing its PE ratio to that 200 number. It was pure hype. Nvidia, on the other hand, its stock price has been playing catch up to its earnings, which have grown so explosively that its PE ratio is actually lower now than it was for most of the last few years. The growth isn't just hype, it's backed by a tsunami of actual real world profits. So we've established the financial footing is totally different, but let's go a layer deeper. Let's move beyond the stock market and look at the physical stuff, the silicon, the chips that form the actual bedrock of this new era. This isn't just some software fad, it's a tangible industrial scale build out. And at the heart of all of it are AI processors. Now, these aren't your standard computer chips, not even close. They are highly specialized pieces of silicon engineered for one single purpose, to perform the mind-boggling number of parallel calculations that you need for machine learning. Think of them as a custom-built engine for this cognitive revolution. They're literally what makes today's AI possible. This slide just perfectly illustrates how complex this whole thing is. It's not a one-size-fits-all game. Instead of just one type of chip, you have an entire toolbox. You've got these massive power-hungry processors and data centers training models like GPT-4, and then you've got those tiny, super efficient chips inside your phone running facial recognition. The key takeaway is that this is a diverse, highly specialized hardware ecosystem being built for very specific needs. The crucial point here is that this build-out is being driven by specific real-world needs. You don't use the same powerhouse chip that's designed for training a giant language model to run analytics in a smart city or to power a self-driving car. Every single task requires a different specialized tool. This is a precise demand-driven expansion, which is completely different from the speculative, build it and they will come approach of the dot-com era. So the financial foundation is solid, the hardware build-out is real, and it's specific, but what is it for? What is the ultimate prize here? While the answer lies in the economic opportunity that is so massive, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. I mean, that's a massive statement coming from one of Silicon Valley's most legendary venture capital firms. They aren't comparing this to the internet or the mobile phone, they're comparing it to the Industrial Revolution, a fundamental rewiring of how the entire global economy functions. The argument is that we're moving from automating manual labor to automating cognitive labor, and that is a much, much bigger opportunity, and this is the number that puts a price tag on that opportunity. $10 trillion. That's the estimated size of just the US services market. We're talking about the jobs done by lawyers, accountants, developers, nurses, consultants. This is the market that AI is just starting to touch, to automate and to augment. And this chart really puts that number into perspective. We will think of the cloud software market as being enormous, and it is. It's over $650 billion. But look at it. It is completely dwarfed by the market for services. The argument isn't just that AI is going to take a bigger slice of this $10 trillion pie. The argument is that just like cloud software did, AI is going to expand the entire pie, creating brand new services and new value that we can't even imagine today. So if the opportunity is that huge, where are we on this journey? You know, with all the headlines and all the hype, it can feel like we're reaching a peak. But the data and the experts actually building this future, they all suggest we're still in the very, very early stages. I absolutely love this metaphor from veteran tech analyst Dan Ives. It just perfectly captures this moment. The music is loud, right? The dance floor is getting crowded, the excitement is off the charts, but we are nowhere near the end of the night. We are still in the first act of what's going to be a multi-decade transformation. The bears, as he says, looking in from the outside, complaining about the noise, while the biggest part of the night is still ahead of us. Let's take a look at what he said.
Now, I remember when I first said the AI revolution, everyone's like, what? Like, did you have like a lot of alcohol or drug? What do you, because just picture the context, like stocks are a disaster.
Right.
Like,
we had just closed a down 19% year in the S&P.
So everyone's like, I don't want to hear. And you're like, this is the AI revolution. Like, what?
He's lost it.
But to me, it was almost like it was there in terms of the technology. And it was just starting to play out. But it wasn't really till NVIDIA's quarter call, like in that May, a few months later, where everyone's like, oh my God, it's here. And then that really started. But look, the whole time, you're always like fighting, some of the sentiment in terms like bubble, like late night, like whether it's like macro driven. And to me, it's like, look, 3 million air miles the last 25 years. By going around the world, you have like a different perspective than I think the average person, because you see it. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, that is an advantage. And I always say, like, the bears, when they're sitting in their caves, they can't see AI in the spreadsheets because you see the we talk to customers, we see, and look, we've said, like, this AI party started at 9 p.m. and it was going to 4 a.m. It's now 10:30 p.m. So we're still early in the night. Now, look, will there be times like glass falls on the dance floor, cops come, DJ stops playing music? Of course. But the bears, they're looking at the nightclub from the outside through the windows saying like, it doesn't even look that fun in there. I'm just going to go upstairs, read a book to the hotel. At 6 a.m. when the bulls and bears meet, bulls had a lot better night than the bears.
This is basically the roadmap for what's next. They are the major technical hurdles and opportunities that are going to define the next few years. We need to solve persistent memory so an AI can remember your entire company's history, not just the last few questions you asked it. We need seamless communication so that different AIs can talk to each other and get things done for us. We need to secure this entire new world and, crucially, make sure that powerful open source alternatives exist. So this whole revolution isn't controlled by just a handful of giant companies. Each one of these is a massive area of innovation all on its own. We'll leave you with this one final thought. We're not at the end of a bubble, we're at the very beginning of a revolution that will reshape the entire global economy. And just as the Industrial Revolution created legendary titans of industry, this cognitive revolution is going to create its own. The real question isn't whether it will happen, but who those titans will be And a lot of them, well, they might just be startups that are being founded today. If you found this video value, why not consider hitting subscribe? Cheers.